Welcome to the Top Pod Breakdown, the Joe Rogan Experience. Feel free to like and subscribe for all our content. Thank you so much for being here.
All right, let's dive in. Today we're taking a closer look at this Michael Waddell interview on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Oh, yeah, the hunter.
Yeah, he's a big name in the hunting world, TV personality and all that.
Makes sense. Rogan's had a lot of hunters on.
And this one, it goes way deeper than just hunting tips. We're going to uncover these links between, like, ancient civilizations and how we hunt today.
Like ancient techniques or what?
Yeah, that and just the whole way our relationship with nature has changed.
Yeah.
Kind of mind-blowing.
I'm intrigued.
Right from the start, Waddell talks about hunting near these unexcavated Mayan pyramids in Mexico.
Wow, like right by them.
Yeah, he describes it like walking through this thick jungle and bam, these massive structures just appear.
Like a hidden world.
Exactly. And it kind of reminds me of that recent discovery in Guatemala. The lost Mayan city they found with LiDAR.
Oh, yeah, that was wild. They basically scanned the jungle with lasers and saw right through the vegetation.
The craziest part is, archaeologists were just looking at this LiDAR data online and stumbled upon this entire city.
It makes you wonder what else is out there, hidden just below the surface.
For real. And this city in Guatemala, it shows just how sophisticated the Mayans were.
Oh, absolutely. Complex urban planning, massive platforms, pyramids, even a whole water management system.
Makes you rethink what we consider advanced cities, right?
Definitely puts things in perspective. And their connection with nature wasn't just theoretical either. It was in everything they did, even hunting.
Right. Rogan actually brings that up too. He talks about his friend in Texas who's constantly finding arrowheads on his land.
Oh, wow. Just like that.
Yeah, imagine just walking around your property and finding these remnants of the past.
That's amazing.
Waddell mentions finding them too, specifically quartz arrowheads in Georgia.
And the type of arrowhead can tell you so much, right?
Exactly. The material, the shape, it reveals a lot about the people who made it. Like, if you mostly find quartz arrowheads in Georgia, you know that was the main material they had there.
It's like holding a piece of history in your hand, a direct link to those ancient cultures.
Absolutely. And Waddell also talks about this hunting technique Native Americans use called a buffalo jump.
Oh, yeah, where they drive bison off cliffs.
Right. And he says at one site, there were so many decaying bison that they actually caused a fire, like spontaneous combustion.
Wow. That's insane.
Talk about impact, right? It really shows how these ancient hunting practices shaped the whole landscape.
They had such a deep understanding of nature. It's incredible.
Makes you think about that delicate balance, doesn't it? Between humans and nature.
For sure. And speaking of connections, later in the interview, they talk about this guy, Ishi, a Native American who became a bridge between ancient hunting techniques and modern archery.
Oh, yeah. Ishi's story is fascinating. He was like the last of his tribe, emerged from the wilderness in the early 1900s.
And he ended up teaching the founders of modern archery those traditional hunting methods.
Right. Saxton Pope and Arthur Young. There's this amazing photo from 1912 that shows Ishi teaching archery.
Wow, a direct link to those ancient practices.
Ishi's knowledge really shapes modern archery, especially the whole resurgence of bow hunting.
He wasn't just teaching technique, he was passing down a whole philosophy of respect for nature and the animals.
But there's this tragic irony too, right? Waddell mentions that even though Ishi was so connected to nature, he had health problems after adopting a Western diet.
That's interesting. It makes you think about the downsides of modern convenience, all the processed food we have.
And it ties into this great story Waddell tells about a first-time hunter who calls wild animals Cheetos.
Oh, I've heard that one. It's hilarious, but also kind of sad.
Yeah, it shows this real disconnect some people have from where their food actually comes from.
And from the realities of nature in general.
Exactly. But it's not all doom and gloom. We'll see later how Joe Rogan himself had this huge transformation after his first hunting experience.
Oh, I want to hear about that. But first, I'm curious about what Waddell says about the satisfaction he finds in archery.
Oh yeah, he talks about it almost like a spiritual connection, something ancient and primal.
Archery has been with us for so long, it's got to be deeply ingrained in us somehow.
Totally. It's like accessing this part of ourselves that's been there all along.
And it connects to how hunting itself has evolved, right? From pure survival to a modern sport and cultural thing.
And Waddell's point is that even with all the fancy tech we have, those core skills and respect for nature, that's what matters.
It's about understanding our place in the ecosystem, not just exploiting it.
Absolutely. So we've got this ancient history, these modern practices, and then Rogan, the urban guy, stepping into this world.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear how that goes down.
So Rogan, he describes his first hunt as like this total awakening. He was nervous at first, but
I
then,
bet.
yeah, but he was so moved by the whole thing, the challenge, the respect for the animal.
Just being out in nature like that.
Exactly. It's powerful stuff. And Waddell says Rogan's not alone. A lot of people from cities have that same kind of experience.
Makes sense. It takes you out of your comfort zone.
Big time. And it forces you to like engage with nature on its own terms.
And maybe confront some of those preconceived notions you had.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Waddell actually talks about that, how surprised he was to encounter anti-hunting views later in life.
It's interesting, right? Because for him, growing up in rural Georgia, hunting was just like part of life.
Totally normal. But for others, it's this foreign thing, maybe even controversial.
I guess it depends on your exposure to it.
Definitely. And a lot of people only see hunting through the media, which can be pretty skewed.
Yeah, you always see the hunter portrayed as this ruthless, insensitive person.
Which isn't the reality at all. Ethical hunting is all about respect for wildlife and understanding conservation.
It's about being responsible steward of the land, right?
Exactly. Ethical hunters actually play a huge role in conservation efforts.
I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, they contribute a lot to wildlife management, habitat restoration, all that stuff.
So it's not just about taking animals.
No way. And Waddell talks about the hunting community, how welcoming and inclusive it is. It's all about sharing knowledge, helping newcomers, keeping those traditions alive.
And he has some funny stories about taking celebrities hunting, like Theo Vaughn.
Oh yeah, Theo kept asking if there were any Cheetos around.
Hilarious. But it shows how hunting can bring people together from different backgrounds.
It's not just about the kill, it's about the experience, the camaraderie.
And those unexpected moments that you remember forever.
Exactly. He also talks about Jim Brewer, the comedian.
I like him.
He was kind of nervous at first too, but then after he got his first turkey,
What happened?
Waddell says he just had this moment of quiet reflection, like the whole thing really hit him.
It's a powerful thing, taking a life, even when it's done ethically.
It makes you think about your place in the world.
So we've got these celebrities having these transformative experiences, but what about the rest of us?
Right. How do we bridge that divide between urban and rural perspectives?
Because it's not like everyone's going to go hunting.
True, but there are other ways to connect people with nature.
Like,
Things like urban gardens, community parks, outdoor education programs.
yeah, getting kids out into nature, that's huge.
It's about fostering that sense of wonder, that appreciation for the natural world.
And Waddell talks about how much knowledge indigenous cultures have about nature.
Oh, yeah, their understanding of animal behavior, plants, the whole ecosystem, it's incredible.
It's like a treasure trove of wisdom that we're only just starting to rediscover.
And it's so relevant today, especially with climate change and all the environmental challenges we face.
We can learn so much from these cultures if we're willing to listen.
Definitely. And it's not just about indigenous knowledge either. It's about being open to different perspectives in general.
Like even across political lines.
Exactly. Waddell actually tells a story about meeting Donald Trump.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and he was surprised by how genuinely interested Trump was in hunting and wildlife management.
You wouldn't expect that based on his public image.
It just shows that there's common ground to be found even in unexpected places.
When it comes to conservation, we all have a stake in it.
For sure. And speaking of the future, Waddell's really passionate about passing on his knowledge to younger generations.
Yeah, he talks about it like it's his legacy.
He wants to make sure those traditions and values of hunting are carried forward.
It's about mentorship, about sharing those skills and experiences that connect us to nature.
It's about instilling that love for the outdoors, that respect for wildlife.
It's like planting a seed that can grow into something amazing,
Absolutely. And it's something we can all do in our own way.
whether it's through hunting or gardening or just spending time in nature.
It's about finding those ways to connect and appreciate the world around us.
And recognizing that we're all part of something much bigger than ourselves. It's about giving them the tools to become those caretakers,
Yeah.
of the planet.
Yeah, carrying that torch forward, the conservation, the respect.
Waddell really believes that time in nature, it's not just fun, it's crucial for how kids grow up.
Oh, absolutely. Builds character, resilience, that kind of stuff.
He says he learns so much from being outdoors, patience, perseverance.
It's like a different kind of classroom.
And those lessons, they stick with you, way beyond hunting.
It's about more than just skills, right? It's values.
Respecting the world around us, realizing we're part of something much bigger.
That humility, it's important.
So thinking about all this, why does it matter to our listeners, Ancient civilizations, hunting today, what's the connection?
It's easy to forget in our world of tech and everything, that connection to nature.
We're inside